Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and this is the lovely DrGloryhogg here today. Please tell him that his hair is pretty, because he's very concerned, everyone.
It's at a very weird stage where it's like really long on like one side only.
That's okay. That's okay. I think like long hair for guys now is more in. You can have crazy long hair.
No, I'm not worried about how long it is. I'm just worried that it's in a weird state.
Do you want to turn up that light over there so people can see you a little bit
more?
It
feels unkempt.
Hello to our chat today. We also have Jolly Lumpy on chat. We have Petter on chat. How are all of you doing? This is very interactive, so if you are in chat, make sure to go ahead and say hello and talk with us here. We're talking about 4 different Kickstarters today. Dr. Professor Sir Gloryhogg, you always look amazing. That's true. I tell him that every day, but he needs extra support from the community, okay? He needs extra support.
I'm very needy in that way.
You are. So Doctor went ahead and picked out these as usual, but I did not get a chance. I got a chance to look them over, but not probably go in depth as much as I usually do on these. And we'll kind of go over that as we're going along because I have some interesting just ideas of kind of stuff that's going on. Hello, Omar. Doctor?
I'm worried. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening?
It's You're more like, just like with me, I think. No.
I'm like, oh, okay. I gotcha. Yikes. On camera, huh?
No,
Ugh.
I'm like...
Could have said something earlier.
I wouldn't call you lovely if I was gonna... I'd be like, I love to see you go or something. I want you to stay, love to see you go or I don't know.
Yikes. So,
something like that.
Yeah, I think the most important facet of this show, though, as everybody realizes that, of course, we research the games that we are interested in.
Right.
But I think it's the fact that we're interested and excited. We see that there's potential in some of these games, and then we try to figure out who these games will work out really well for.
Absolutely.
I think that's like the most important thing.
Hello, Angela and Petter. Yes, the hashtag fog of divorce.
Yeah.
It's always looming.
Starting
it's always
early.
looming.
Yikes.
If everybody does not know that story, fog of divorce is because we played, what was it?
Fog of Love.
Fog of Love.
And it went badly.
And it was not good. It was not good.
Yeah. What it did is, so here's the problem. The Fog of Love, you're supposed to play it. It's supposed to be kind of like almost like a relationship tool. But what they didn't account for is that if you put in a way for just me
like
to win,
one person to win,
solo
win,
by being a narcissist,
totally doctor's off.
I took it.
Doctor was like, I have the choice of these things that I could do at the end. I'll pick the solo in a cooperative game.
To be fair, the other options seemed like they were going to be a lot harder and that we weren't going to get them. So I thought this is a for sure win.
Instead of not winning with my partner and being together as a unified unit, that I'll just win solo.
It's kind of like when we were playing We're Doomed, and they said anybody who was in a theocracy couldn't win.
Yeah.
And so then I nuked you because I figured if I can't leave the planet, you shouldn't leave either. But then something changed, and all of a sudden the theocracy could go.
And then you won.
And then I got on the ship, and I flew off with 2 ladies. And I felt really bad about it.
You didn't.
And they weren't even the best-looking women at the table. I'm just saying. So I felt really bad that I nuked you earlier. But my thought process was pure. I thought, if I can't go, you wouldn't want to go.
Yeah. So
I made the decision for you.
T-Brick is asking, did you guys like Fog of Love? I liked the idea of Fog of Love. And
more than I liked playing it, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe newer couples, it might be interesting with newer couples. Like, because you get to like... I
don't know, are we a typical couple though?
Well, you get to like explore lots of different things and stuff and ideas in that game. And like, I don't know, we've been together for how long? Since...
Too long, some would say.
2005
some people would say
or something?
It's been too
2001? I don't know, 2002?
I think
we've been together for a little while, everyone, okay?
2002. 2002.
So, like, I've explored a lot of the Doctor and his psyche. Among other things.
The problem is that I wanted to win, and that was my bad, apparently. Stakes were made.
As long as I get to win when you're winning.
Yes, that's when it's allowed. Sometimes honestly though, that's what, I will actually bring that up in some of these other games that we're going to be looking at today. Sometimes you have to know what game is right for yourself versus what's right for your partner.
100%. Absolutely.
Not every game works. I think there's a couple of these games that I would be super happy to back and would love to play, but you have to figure out if it's going to work best for your game group.
Jolly Lumpy says, does one person winning in a co-op not mean an all-win? In that one particular really odd instance, that is like one card among many of them in Fog of Love that we happened to get the very first time we played, no, it did not mean we cooperatively won.
Yeah.
Like, it was very odd.
That, but she has no problem sacrificing everybody in Dead of Winter and being the lone survivor and having everybody else die as the traitor.
I had a specific thing.
You had a card that let just you win?
I gotta go, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately went to Gloryhound after dark. Sometimes that happens. So mistakes were made. Always Petter. Mistakes were always made. T-Brick says, my wife and I played, and we had fun joking around, but my wife didn't like it. That's really interesting. Have you and your wife been together very long? I'm curious because those were my feelings, and I think Doctor's feelings for the game.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Yeah.
But
it was interesting.
I'm curious to see if other couples also had the same sort of experience or not when playing.
Because I've heard a lot of people say they like it, but I think I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But everyone likes different things, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Battlecry.
As we will discuss, I will tell you my 2 biggest marriage tips. If you can afford it, have 2 separate bathrooms, so that way the makeup and you using the toilet, those things never get mixed. Yeah. You don't want that.
And then 2 separate blankets.
2 separate blankets.
2 separate blankets.
The day I bought another blanket, because first off, she uses 2 or 3 blankets. I don't need that many. I want like a sheet or a light blanket most of the time, or the fan on. So once I said, you know what, I'm just going to use this whole king-size blanket for myself, and you use your whole king-size blanket.
It was very nice.
A lot better.
It was so nice. I didn't have to wake up being angry. Yeah.
None of that business anymore.
See, okay, yes, T-Brick says, we've been married for 12 years. So, okay, I feel like you did have maybe the same experience then that, or at least your wife had the same sort of experience that we did, where it's like, oh yeah, that was a really interesting game to play, but
separate blankets.
Us as a couple, like, we didn't get to explore maybe the same things a newer couple might have, maybe.
Blankets,
I don't know.
Keep them separated.
Keep them separated.
Separate blankets.
All right, and I actually forgot my notes in the other room, so I don't have any of the information for this. So I am going to
Force is the next level flicking game from the creators of Ice Cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this, I think, is for, I'm going to guess, 2 to 4 players.
Yes, it is 2 to 4 players.
This here is it's like the next level up from Ice Cool. They took Ice Cool as
the right time too.
Premises.
Showing the second level.
As the premises.
The premises.
And they added in and they added in a flicking thing. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So this is the next level of Ice Cool, essentially.
Yes, and they added in a flicking element where you go to a secondary level, but you also have some of the same tasks of trying to go around the board and go through doors and stuff like that. It also seems like that you do have team play where you are trying to take over different rooms maybe and stuff. You have different actionable items, not just collecting fish.
So I'm quite familiar with Ice Cool.
Yes.
So I played it a couple times. Essentially what it is a dexterity flicking game where you flick like this, right, to move your piece around. It's got a round base that makes it kind of wobble but never fall over.
Right.
You flick it through doors, you're trying to collect the fish, you're trying to chase down the other members, hit them with your piece, that kind of thing. What this has done is it takes that same idea where your box becomes your whole board, which I thought was already really cool about Ice Cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it adds a second level and it adds a catapult.
Right.
So in order to get up to the second level, you actually take a little catapult and you can actually launch your little guy on top. But you can also use that to launch across rooms and hit people too. And it also adds more like capture the flag type of games where it's like instead of, because Ice Cool was just chasing the other penguins around. It was just one gameplay. There was not multiple missions to do.
How is that not what I was saying?
No, you are.
I was like, that's exactly what I was saying. You have different missions.
But I just think that
go up top.
I think that's what makes this more fun for gamers is that it's got that extra where it's got literally a second level, but it's also got different objectives you can play against.
Here's the thing: if you have never played Ice Cool is a dexterity game that you look at and you go, that's gonna be okay, and then you actually play it and you're like, okay, that was kind of fun. But if you are a gamer, this is the Ice Cool version you would want. Like, if I had Ice Cool, I'd probably just yeet Ice Cool out the door or give it to, a school or something like that, a library or whatever, and probably be purchasing this game here because this one just upped the level of excitement and things you have to do and the flicking ability and the coolness of the game and the way it looks like, and
without getting as complicated or as much setup as something like Flick 'em Up.
Oh yeah,
because we have Flick 'em Up. That's like our main dexterity game, but we don't play it as much because it does take a little bit to set it up and explain it. For some reason, people have a hard time with like the rules sometimes where I'm like, no, like this is it. You flick this bullet, you hit somebody, you knock them over,
and then like they get hit. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot more pieces in Flick 'em Up where this one has a lot less, but it has that cool catapult, so it adds just a little something extra. Like being able to like fling your person at somebody is really awesome because the thing I could never really get good at in Ice Cool was where you like lift your piece up and have it go over the walls and land on somebody. So this gives me the option to like catapult at people, and that's sweet.
Yeah, Nosferatu saying, did Doctor just say we should launch those game pieces at other players?
Yeah.
That's a whole new strategy that you can do for yourself, okay?
No, they show it. They show you launching it to hit other people on the same level. I'm totally
means
using
other
that.
people's tokens, not literally other
No,
players.
I don't.
No,
whatever you want to do, it's your game.
No.
They can't tell you how to play your game in your own home. That's your right as a human, is to be able to play your game that you purchased any way you want in your own home. If you want to launch it at your wife, go for it.
Overall, Ice Cool in general was very, very well produced. The box system that collapses all within each other was amazing. The setup was easy. It had the board portions of it had stability to them whenever you're putting them together. So it's like you could assemble and disassemble them many, many times without a bunch of wear and tear and stuff breaking and everything. Like, there's no one that I know of that's been like, oh, my Ice Cool split over here or something like that, and it's ruined the game. So, like...
And Ice Cool is a really good convention game also.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was easy to jump into with people that we'd never met, because it was some people that you had met on Twitter.
Absolutely.
And it's also, like, one of those ones that whenever we had brought it out, people would come around and be like, what are you playing? What is that?
I love this. Jay Peter says, this looks like a great cat toy.
Yeah. That's why you wear safety glasses at all times.
We also need a legal disclaimer that you're not supposed to launch these bits at actual players because you could poke them in the eye. Jolly Lumpy says, although glasses, you put your glasses on, you're totally good with that.
Safety glasses. So
the other thing that somebody went ahead and brought up here, and I'm sorry, team play. Team play is amazing. Right. I like team play. Is that this does have a hefty price tag though. $85.
I'm sorry, can I say one more thing
go
about
ahead.
the gameplay? What it also adds is that you can get like power-ups, things that will give you like an extra flick or let you do additional things. Like you have to discard a card to do an extra flick and stuff like that.
Oh, yes, the power-ups. That's right. You got power-up cards.
So along with the objectives, there are some additional things you can do that makes your team feel like you're customizing it somewhat, right? Well, you didn't really get that with Ice Cool. Ice Cool was just flicking the penguin around. Yes. This one gives you some more variability with that. I'm like, man, like this, why would you even ever play like Ice Cool ever again? I just yeet, yeet. Yeah, it's got mechs.
Out.
I mean, sometimes in your life you have to make a decision, mechs or penguins, and I think the right answer is always mechs.
So let's see here. It's $85 for your pledge here. You get the base game, all applicable stretch goals with that there. The reason I think that this is so expensive, everyone, is because they had to put a lot of stuff into creating miniatures, creating the little launcher and stuff like that.
There's a lot more in this game. Not only does it have the second level, which they had to add extra stability to it, it's got the launchers, which is going to be a whole other mechanism they got to produce. Plus, each one of these are unique, where in Ice Cool, you had 4 just different colored penguins, and that's it. Where this looks like there's going to be like, what, 8?
Yeah, which you do have to play for somebody to actually make those asset files and stuff like that, because you're hiring an artist for those things.
All these cards, yeah.
Absolutely. So, although the price point is much higher.
Custom D20 dice, too, are in here.
Yeah, although
as part of your objectives.
The price point is much higher. I can understand kind of where some of those costs are coming from it. For me, I mean, how do you feel about the price point on this, Doctor?
I mean, I don't love it. I mean, does anybody love the price point? I mean, games are getting more and more expensive. Every show we do, it seems like they just get more and more expensive.
Right? Shipping costs have gone up and stuff like that. Ooh, Petter also says, important note, this is a Kickstarter exclusive as well. So they're not...
Yes, and that makes me sad because this is one that I would be happy to back. I know we don't play as many Dexterity games. I feel like we would play this one more than like a Flick 'em Up, for example, because I think it would be easier to get to play, but still give us some of that same kind of vibe that we would enjoy it. But you and I have just never played, like you and I have never played Flick 'em Up by ourselves.
I really want to. The problem with Flick 'em Up is that you need...
It's better with more.
You need a table to like put it into, because when you're flicking those things, they can go off the table. Whereas this, you're flicking them in the box, and I think that's really what sets it apart. As far as like the playability of it, if you have a smooth table, you're running around and like picking up stuff off the floor and putting it back up. With
We didn't have a game
Ice
topper back
Cool,
then.
yeah, with Ice Cool, you don't have that issue at all. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't have a game topper by Game
Yeah.
Toppers LLC.
Yeah, and
So
that
we
makes a
could
big
do it.
difference,
We could do it now
everyone.
because we do have a table that's inset or recessed, but we didn't at that time.
J.
So
Peters says, I canceled my Kingdoms Forlorn pledge, so this is now more affordable than ever. Well, I'm interested to hear why you canceled that later in the show. We're going to do that one actually later in the show. So
yeah, I think this could be great at retail, like big box stores like your Targets, your Walmart, and everything. It would have to be a reduced cost. I don't know how they would do it because it's a little bit tougher, but I mean, it wouldn't sell very well at those places if it wasn't a reduced cost because you've got more casual gamers that aren't going to drop $80 on one game.
The top 2 flicking games for sure are Ice Cool and Pitch Car.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
I'm not familiar with Pitch Car.
Pitch Car, you basically flick and then you can like move your car up.
Are you mansplaining flicking to me?
Sorry.
I'm aware of what a flick is.
Okay, doctor, hold on. So like when you're flicking, you have like a token
Well, you hold your finger back with your thumb. That's an illegal flick.
Like this. This is a power flick. And if you want to get like a regular flick, you go like this and you flick like that.
But you know what we haven't talked about? We have Crash Octopus too. Which we played a lot.
Yeah.
Which Crash Octopus is another good flicking game.
Crash Octopus was fun.
But I think that was like a $30 game.
Now
or something.
all of you know how to flick, and you know with Crash Octopus you have like a little flag, and like you use your flag to be like flick, and you flick with your flag. So, which I actually liked the flag flicking, which
so you don't hurt your finger.
Well,
you don't want to ever. I mean, I swear I almost pulled a finger one time. I go like doing a power flick so hard, and I was like, ah.
Extra flicking power, but with control use of the middle finger. Could you get like a double finger flick in? Could you like do 2 fingers? Like, I don't know. Could you?
Like a double flick?
Like a double flick.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not in
For
college
extra
anymore.
flicking power?
I don't have
know.
that kind of stamina.
Cronkle is really good.
I've heard good things about
I have not
Cronkle.
played Cronkle, so like, I can't really comment on it. I would like to play it though.
Is flicking harder with your longer nails? Because your nails aren't even super long right now. They've been longer.
They have.
Or is it easier? Do you have like an extended, so like it's an easier flick?
An extended flick? No, the nail is kind of smooth, so it doesn't have like same sort of
slide
grip.
off the side?
Yeah, so like you can tend to like not flick in the right direction with a slicker nail.
Does anyone remember when Dice Throne was going to make the Pogs, the Pog game, Pog Throne?
What happened, Dice Throne?
They got involved with making more Dice Throne, which is making them a lot more money than Pog Throne was. I still get the notification like every year where it's like Pog Throne. It's going to be on Kickstarter, and it's not. It's been years.
Crokinole? No, I thought it was Cronkle.
I call it Grunkle.
Crokinole?
Gruntle. You can be disgruntled.
Well, now I'm going to be looking that up. The Flick of Faith is decent as well.
That's another good game. So there's a lot of them. We just don't. I think the thing that's stopping me is it's $80.
Yeah.
And we don't play enough of it at 2-player that I think it makes sense. If I could only have one, I could see this one and like this one or Crash Octopus. But I just don't think we play enough flicking games, like enough dexterity games.
Yeah.
Dexterity games are not really your thing. There's not very many that you enjoy.
There's not many I enjoy, but I do like Ice Cool, which makes me think I'm going to really like this because it's going to be like the gamified Ice Cool. And I really, really like...
I thought you didn't like Ice Cool as much because like every time
I said I like Ice Cool.
We never have gotten it. I'm always like, oh, look, there's Ice Cool. It's on sale or
like,
something.
If somebody's like, oh, hey, can you want to play Ice Cool? I'll go play Ice Cool, but
you don't necessarily
have to have it in my collection. But this...
I want this one in my collection.
Is different because if you have team play and like a capture the flag sort of thing and then like an extra area to jump into, like there's so much... It's, like I said, it's like the gamified Ice Cool. And I believe in the gamified version. If they made a gamified Monopoly, like that would be it. Gamified Monopoly. You like level up every time you go around the board and like you get more swole. You're able to like, I don't know, burn houses down or something. I don't know. You're like, you owe me for a hotel. And I'd be like, the heck you don't. I'm a level 15. I'll burn this hotel down.
You know, like in television shows, whenever they have like one of the spy or police documentary type shows, like there's always somebody that has like that needle and they can just like and just take you away. Sometimes I wish I had that crazy person needle so I could just be like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. You can burn houses in Monopoly. It's okay. And then just take her out. I am sorry. I don't know what is wrong with her. Now get off me, woman.
I'm just saying, it would make a more interesting Monopoly. That's all I'm saying. If you leveled up, okay?
This is going to be one hell of a show today. I can just tell.
Your little top hat.
You're talking
like,
about burning Monopoly already.
Top hat.
A level 15
It
top
makes
hat.
sense.
So where do you stand on this ultimately?
Would you back this game?
Because I want it. I just don't want it for $80.
Doctor, would you back this game? You don't want it, but not for $80.
I want it, but not for $80.
I am also along the same lines, actually.
So, gosh, and
if this was a $40 game, I'd get it.
The reason why I'm sad that this is going to be Kickstarter because it's going to be more expensive then. I doubt I'll find it for cheaper out in the wild, is what I'm saying. Because I was kind of hoping to pick this up on a sale. There's a lot of really cool things that reviewers of video games do, where they do like buy, rent, or sale, like, you know, buy it, rent it, or get it on a sale, or like stay away from it type of rating. For me, this is like a get it on a sale. If I can find this for less than $80, I will pick it up.
Battle cry, don't use that logic against us. So, okay. And this is actually Nosferatu. That's exactly what I want to know. What would be the max that you would purchase this at? Is this a $50 game for you? Is this a $60 game for you?
I think 60 is probably the max. I'd prefer like a 50. Because if Ice Cool is like $25, $30, I'd prefer this one to be about double the price-ish.
Yeah.
But not quite double. For 80 is a lot. And I understand why it could be that much. There's a lot that goes into making a game. I can't justify spending $80 for a Dexterity game right now because I just don't think it'll get the table time it needs.
Absolutely. The Glory Mom says 50 for that. Yeah.
Yeah, see? She's on the same page as me.
Right.
So Glory Mom and I should go halvesies on it. Because we'll both pay 40
and then you'll both pay 40
and then we'll just store it at our house. But she can come over and play it anytime she wants. But you're not getting your key back.
It is Kickstarter.
She lost her front door key for a reason.
It is Kickstarter, and it's Kickstarter exclusive, and that's what makes it tough. Yeah, because, I don't know, you're going to see it at conventions and stuff. How well is this doing? I'm going back up. Hold on.
It's like 100,000.
Is it?
Yeah, so like I don't know if it'll be at Dice Tower and all those places. It is funded. It's double its funding goal, but that's not like an amazing. So it'll be around, but not like you think. Like you might see it at a Dice Tower West or something.
I want this game. Fatal will buy it later for $100 on eBay.
That's true. That is true.
Ice Cold 2 is on Amazon for $20 right now. This is
$60 better.
Yeah, see?
I don't know. I don't know if it's $60 better.
It's tough. It's really tough. It really is.
Could you just get like 4 Ice Cool 2s?
If Ice Cool
make them a huge version? If
Ice Cool was like my #1 game to play, or the game I always broke out, then this would be like hands down, like I would get this. You know what I'm saying?
Jay Peter says they're going to bring it to a convention so we can play it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jay Peters.
You only need one person to have it. No, so it is one that I'm excited about. We backed 2 games last week because we backed the Recklin Run and then we backed the other one.
Yeah.
That I can't even name right now. Gosh, it's been a week and
Deep
I've already
Rock.
forgotten. Yeah, Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
Which I've been playing the crap out of that on PlayStation. So I think the big thing is since we backed two games that were a little bit more expensive last week, this week I'm trying to really just go for one. Like really hard. I always try to go for one, but I'm really trying to be like for one. And $80, I have to compare this against something like Unsettled or 51st State.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's the same price range.
So the Glory Mom says, sounds good to me. You can keep it at your house, right? And then you don't have to worry about storage. And Petter says, I play Ice Cool a lot, but I don't feel like I need this. Interesting. Why is that? Because if you play Ice Cool so much, I feel like this is like the super awesome gamified version. I
think it's just the price is what's making people wait. Because $80 goes into like
looks amazing.
There's some cheaper RPG dungeon delve games that are in that $80 range. There's a lot of miniature games. A lot of the cool mini like base sets, you know, like are in that $80 range. So you're getting into that like miniature territory at $80.
All right, next up here we have 51st State Ultimate Edition. I'm not even going to play the video for this because it's just basically a bunch of other people's videos and them talking. Which I'm going to have to say,
does that.
Right now, I absolutely hate that method of having a video for a game. Just 100%, hands down. Either if you're looking at this game, like you've already seen that stuff. Like I don't need Tom and Jesse and everybody tell me how amazing the game is. Like I want to know more about the game. Like that doesn't like report to me as like at first look. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I don't mind it if they've got like the quotes and stuff down the page. Like that's cool.
Right. No, that's fine.
But you don't like the Kickstarter or Gamefound video to be just clips of other videos.
Just clips of other videos going, this is so amazing. Oh my God, it's awesome. And then I'm like, what is the game even about? Because if you missed this game, if you have no idea what this is, if you are newer to Kickstarter and you're coming in newer to board games, all you see is a bunch of people going, I love this game, and then not saying anything else.
And you might not even know who those people are. So that doesn't help you at all.
Not at all.
Even with that, like, there's people that I align with, like, as far as their reviews typically, but even then, there are some games that I am diametrically opposed to with Jesse that Jesse might love.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't like that game at all. So you can never know for sure until you have to make your own decision.
I'm curious in our chat if you all feel the same way, because as I was watching this, I was just like, oh, like, there's no information on this, and for me, that was just that turned me off so fast to what was happening here. I'm like, okay, well, I don't need other people to tell me that the game is good. Like, I want to know more about this. I don't know. Maybe it's just a pet peeve. I don't know. But this is 51st State Ultimate, the Ultimate Edition. They've made this game and then expansions and all sorts of other stuff. Yeah, multiple times.
But some of those expansions are out of print.
Yes.
And so this gives you all of them, all in one package, all the out of print stuff. Plus it adds like an area control mechanic to it in the newest one.
Yeah.
I don't really know how. I wasn't able to figure that out just by like looking through it. But it's an interesting idea of a game. This game reminds me of, there's some kind of worker placement to it, but it's mostly engine building with some light drafting, because you're going to take 3 cards. You draft one, I draft one type of situation. It's a efficiency puzzle, very much like It's a Wonderful World. Because your resources go away at the end of the round. Okay. So you're trying to make the resources you can to build what you want to build at that round. And it is a race, so it's kind of like a mixture of It's a Wonderful World and something like a Star Realms or Hero Realms type of thing. Because it is like straight, like it's head-to-head. But there is an engine building aspect to it, and your resources go away at the end of the round. So you have to efficiently build in a way that you can get the resources you need for that turn. It's got multi-use cards, so your cards can be used to either build like as locations, or you can pay and flip them around and have them give you resources each turn. So like that's always really cool. It's got like a little bit of a drafting. You don't draft as much as like some of the other games like Seven Wonders or something like that, but you're drafting out like 3-ish cards. So it's got like a lot of things that I normally like. It's kind of got like that deck building, engine building aspect to it, which I really enjoy. It's got that Wasteland, which we're really hot on the Wasteland right now. I think though, it seems like it's a more complicated version or more in-depth version of something like It's a Wonderful World. I think though that it's probably a miss for you. So like as I was looking, I was like, oh, this seems cool, but I'm like, I don't think this is one that she would want. Because although you like engine building, it took you a while to warm up to It's a Wonderful World. You didn't like it the first couple of times, really. You thought it was okay. And it kind of took us adding the legacy elements into it with the little campaigns to make you like it more. And even then, after we played that a few times, I made sure that we took a break. And I won't bring it back around again for a little while, because I know that you need a break from those types of games.
Absolutely. So everybody in chat is kind of talking about the Pledge for the Ukraine. This is a signed 51st State edition original prototype thingy, original card prototype. So all money from this pledge will be given to the humanitarian mission in the Ukraine, which is fantastic. I'm also really excited to see this as well happening. And when you're spending money on board games, it's like, why wouldn't you spend a little bit more? Like, I do wish that other board game companies would also offer donation things. Like, if you have a game like Parks or something like that, like, wouldn't it be awesome if they had in there, oh, and then, X amount of the proceeds would also go to, a park restoration program or something like that. I think that would be a really cool idea.
I think the only company that does that is every time you buy a game from Kickstarter that has game trays in it, I make 1 cent. So there's a donation that's made directly to me.
No, that is not true.
That actually wouldn't be a bad deal.
That would be probably pretty good.
I'd make a couple $100 per Kickstarter. I need to talk to my boss about that. So I think the big thing about this is I like the idea of that charity option. I've seen some stuff like that, like kind of Critical Role kind of had some of those type of things that are kind of more, not like, oh, you're just getting this product, you're getting like kind of an experience too or something like that. You don't see as much of it in the board game world. There have been a few like eco games though where they're like, we'll plant a tree for every game you buy.
Yes. Hello, Kabuki and Eric and Studio Lanniston. How are you all doing here? So Eric says, this seems cool for me, but a miss though, I would love A Wonderful World. But yeah, I love A Wonderful World. Yeah. I like A Wonderful World as well, but...
You like it enough.
I don't think like you said.
But
I
you
can
don't
only play it so many times.
Right, where I can play it over and over again because I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, you're drafting, you're building a new thing. For me, every time it's a new puzzle, and I love that. But I think for you, you don't. The campaign was like just enough where I think you were probably starting to get like a little tired of it.
Yeah.
But new cards were happening, things were happening, so.
That usually happens for a lot of campaign style games
Because we
that are
play
just
them
card
back to
based.
back, right? So.
Yeah.
And I get that, but for me, like a card game, I can play forever. I mean, I'm still playing the same. I'd still play the same Magic decks I had from when I was a kid if I had them. Like, I have no issues with that. I love card games and all the different things you can do. I like a lot about what this has because even though, like, for example, you might trigger endgame, there's still like one more round and then counting up a point. So even though you triggered it, it doesn't mean you necessarily win. So it's not like a race per se. It's definitely an efficiency thing. I'm super interested in it. I just think that It's a Wonderful World fills that slot that we have already really well, that without playing this one, I don't feel the need to go all in on this one.
Absolutely. So, because this isn't my style of game necessarily, I'm definitely less apt to being like, yeah, let's go out and get this game. And plus, the other thing is we haven't actually played this game before, so I don't
It's hard to go Ultimate Edition without having played it.
But I think if you're really interested in the game, and if you have like the first version or whatever, or like
Or you
a
played
version of
friend's
it,
copy or
right,
something.
or something, this is a total win for you, because if you love it, you're going to get everything you need and more in this game. So I'm excited to see that portion. I'm excited to see more game companies kind of put everything together in one big box sort of thing that you can get. That
it's nice whenever, because Portal
I want
has a
more
lot
of
of
that.
stuff that's gone out of print, so to reprint it is really good.
Absolutely.
It does have some worker placement, but it's more like if I built a location, you as my opponent can put your worker on it and help, and also get that resource, and then I get that worker, which means I can then put it on yours. That kind of like push and pull mechanic. It's not like a worker placement. It's not like Everdale or something like that, or any of the other worker placements you're thinking of.
Absolutely.
So it is definitely much more. I think it's all about the engine building is really what it is. Since you get resources that go away at the end of your turn, every single round. I think the closest comparison would be something like It's a Wonderful World.
So let's see here. Petter says, I feel like that does make it a little trickier. I feel like I could wait for a master set copy, get sold and used, and get it cheap once people get this Ultimate Edition. That is a whole nother thing. Absolutely.
Because they have had different versions of this.
They did have a master set version, and I
So you
was
can
looking
pick
at
up-
that actually today, Petter.
Like, oh, can I pick this up for cheap?
Yeah.
It seems like it gets pretty decent ratings on BGG. I'm interested in it. But like I said, if I could only pick one this week, it wouldn't be this one.
All you have to do is look at the very first intro video on here, and you're going to see everybody's review and all the good things they said, apparently. So that's all you have to do,
No Pun
apparently.
Included had a kind of funny one where they did an Adam Sandler 51st Dates parody.
Yeah.
Where it was 51st Dates, and he had to watch a video about it. Did you watch that one?
As soon as that started playing, everybody and their comments
it's
and
an
stuff.
actual video on it.
Okay, no. As soon as they started playing that, I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And then I saw more people of just like comments and stuff. And I was like,
that's the
oh.
other thing. So apparently, and I'm getting this from No Pun Included, they did this game, then they did Imperial Settlers, which had like less of it wasn't a Warzone thing, it's kind of a cutesy, more of a cutesy game.
Yeah.
And then they did this, then they did like a revised version of this. So like all those games are kind of connected in
it's by the same designer, isn't it?
Same type of mechanics throughout them. So also, if you've played Imperial Settlers, you should have a general idea of how this pretty much plays. There's going to be some tweaks, some more expansions probably.
That's a good note.
It has you'll have a general feel of the game. So if you like that one, you might like this one too. The theme will throw some people off. I don't mind a good, end of the world theme. It's always fun.
I like it too.
As long as it's happening in game,
yeah,
not like in real life.
Not in real life.
I will say the apocalypse that we're living through right now is like really boring.
That was one thing that Doctor and I were talking about the other day. Was like, now we know if the apocalypse does come,
you just need a good internet connection.
Well, good internet connection. You play Animal Crossing or whatever other thing that's going to be coming out, and some board games, and like it doesn't matter what's outside. You just like
you're fine.
Hunker down, play your games, and ignore. Just ignore.
I'm really
zombies
sad
outside.
that I buried all those cans of beans and weenies in the backyard. Like
you're gonna have to dig those up one day.
One
day. I don't know.
Yeah, it does have a common deck that you draw from Kabuki. So you're going to have like 3 cards and you're going to take them. So there's definitely going to be hate drafting where you're like,
yes,
I can't really use any of these cards, but my opponent really wants this one. So I'm going to take this one and then I'm going to flip it over and use it for its resource or something like that.
So, chat, are you backing this game? And as a quick recap, you could go ahead and wait around. I think this oh, no, wait, maybe not. I was looking at one of these, it was like 2023 or something like that. You could wait. And when people's Ultimate Editions start rolling in, look for that master copy on the cheap.
Well, it's like when Everdell did that. Like, you could pick up Everdell for cheaper whenever they started doing their big complete edition one.
Or you can go ahead and get this one, get the whole big box, get all the newness and fresh open packaging that you get to feel whenever you're breaking open that plastic, like, and do it that way. Whatever you want. Either way, it is a good game. Lots of people really, really like it. If you're into those sort of games, it's probably going to be for you. I think it's definitely
probably
more of a
me thing, less of a thing for you.
Probably more for you, yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, if you added a roll and write level to this, you'd probably love it.
Interesting, so. We do have some Gregs in here. So hashtag Gregware. So try it before you buy it for Petter and for Kabuki as well, which I can understand. When you're spending this type of money and everything, then you absolutely want to be certain that this is something that you're probably going to like.
More and more, I'm having a harder time going all in on stuff unless I'm just blown away by it.
Absolutely.
Because the all-ins are getting crazy. It used to be all-in was like $120. Now all-in's like $480.
Well, even like, your all-in would be like $20 more or maybe $30 more or something. But like your all-ins are almost doubling in price and stuff sometimes.
Do you miss the good old days of when like Gambling Games had a regular version of their game, Tiny Epic Pirates, $30.
Oh
like Tiny Epic Pirates Deluxe, $35.
Yes.
Woo!
Like,
I miss those days. Nothing's like that anymore.
The Kickstarter pricing.
You're right. It's almost always double. It used to be like maybe $20 more. So you're like, oh, the game's 30, but it's 50 for the deluxe version because they had like a few minis or something in it. Now it's always like the regular game is 30, the deluxe version's $300.
Beforehand, you're like, yeah, I'm supporting somebody's dream with this $40 to $30, and then like later on, it was like, all right, we got like $50 to probably $60, and we're getting in some really, really good games here. And now it's like, you're going to be spending $500.
Do you see Nas over here trying to min-max it? If you do the Ukraine pledge, can you write it off on your taxes as a charity donation?
Yes, it's
you
a
might
donation.
Be able to. I mean, I'm not a tax representative, but you might be able to.
Doesn't matter. Just do it.
Do it. Nobody's going to check.
Nobody's going to check. They're going to... If you're filing...
Now we're going to get checked because you said that.
If you're filing as like a married person with all the normal stuff and then you have your one charity write-off of $165, nobody cares about that. The government doesn't care. They're not going to track you down for your $165.
I'm a little nervous now.
They're looking at other people like realtors skimming off the top for millions and stuff.
If we just go offline, you'll know why. It's because the IRS finally got us. They took us down like Capone. We're going down.
No, what would happen was the IRS would be like, ooh, we owe them money. Ooh, well, just back away.
That's the advantage of not making a lot.
Yeah, just back away. Next up, we have Unsettled, the board game, plus all new content. So it's not a relaunch. It's already been produced. It's already out there. They're producing it again with extra content. I'm not going to play this video for you either because, again, all this video does is just a bunch of people going, oh my god, it's so amazing, well, with no actual content.
I probably shared about half of these on Game Trays myself, so I've seen all these videos. So here's the thing with Unsettled. We covered Unsettled when it first came up, and I was interested in it. You were interested in it. Greg was interested in it. Greg made the comment. He's like, I think this is one I'm actually going to back. And so I backed off thinking I could save money that Greg would get this. He did not get this.
Don't trust Greg.
The game.
Don't trust Greg.
So eventually, later on, I ended up selling like Massive Darkness or something. Yeah. Got the money, and then I had to buy this secondhand. Yeah. I got the all-in like late pledge from a game store. Yeah. And I'm just sad that I could have just backed it from the beginning and gone along for the ride. Because Orange Nebula is kind of like Cardboard Alchemy. They have, or like Breaking Games did when they did the Dwellings of Elder, which is still Peter Vaughn, when they did Dwellings of Eldervale. Their campaigns are fun. Oh, yeah. They're like unlocking stuff. There's like things to do. They're asking for community output. They've got Q&As, live streams. You can go into like the wormhole and like get exclusive gear and stuff. There's like all kinds of cool stuff. Orange Nebula does cool stuff with their campaign.
Ask Greg to be reimbursed for our previous purchase.
So this was obviously before I started working for Game Tray. So like, I was sad that I missed it, and then I still ended up paying for it out of pocket to get it because I just wanted it. Right. After watching their unboxing and a little bit of their how to play, I was like, I want this game because I was already interested in it. So then I bought it, and we have it. It's on my table. Haven't played it yet, and I'm super sad about it. But I'm all in. We're doing this. Let's do this.
What?
Yeah, I'm all in.
You're all in?
Here's the thing.
All in on what?
Here's what they did. they're adding 3 new boxes, which are going to give you 3 new different distinct worlds. Each one is a slightly different puzzle. It's a cooperative game. Things are going to get weird. They're asking the community for like specific tasks and weird deaths that can happen in these planets. So instead of just being like, you died, you're going to die like in weird ways, like covered in spaghetti. I don't know. It's going to be amazing. They're giving you 3 new planets. They made it so that their new content, they're going to have like specialization boards and then like specific tasks that you can do, which are 2 small boxes that take up the same room as 1 planet. So you can take your box that you already have, the long box, and you take out one of the 2 planets that comes in the base game. You put those 2 added modules in there. It all fits in the base box. You take your base box with all the expansions plus 1 planet, and you can just take that with you in 1 box.
How do you do it?
In 1 box, like stacking on stacks on stacks on stacks. It's so much stacking. That's great. So if I wanted to go play this at a friend's house and we're only going to play on 1 planet, I can just put the expansion stuff in there for like the new specialized tasks, put the planet that I want to play in there, close up the box. It's got all the game trays, all the goodness. I can just take that 1 box over there, and it fits in your calyx so nice. It takes up like a half of a calyx, plus like the little planets stack on top of each other, so you can stack them 4 deep, and they fit all on like a half of your calyx. It's like,
are you trying to get on their real video right now?
Here's the deal. Orange Nebula straight up like took a like tape measure, and they were like, they're like, let's do this. And they gave us the box images for game trays to make the stuff in there fit, right? But you know they did, because it fits too perfectly. It just stacks, then a planet goes on top of a planet, and you can just shove it right back on your calyx, and it perfectly takes up like half your calyx. It is such a good system. And if I can play on this inky black world, if I can play on this like sludge world, if I can play on this vine covered world, if I can play on this, Io world that's covered in volcanoes, like doing all these cool things, while also having to worry about if the people with me have like lost their freaking minds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Unsettled is so weird, and I love it. It is the weirdness of deep space. Deep space is weirder than our ocean. It is super crazy.
I don't want to talk about our ocean.
The best Netflix show I saw about space was where like nobody attacked them. There were no aliens. Just weird stuff happened. Microbes got them. Like weird like fungus can kill them. Like all these things in space, gamma rays, all these things in space can kill you. That's what they're bringing to this game. They bring a level of weirdness and passion to their projects that I'm just so excited for.
Whew, hold on.
Thank you. And I'm a paying customer. I paid full retail for this game. I paid the full pledge.
Hold on. Is this where I do the just go to sleep.
Well, that would have been good, right?
It's okay, everyone.
Yeah, see, Colin says, I haven't settled. Did not expect this, but I can confirm this is amazing. Every planet is so different, and even the solo is very good. I love this game. I haven't played it yet, but I love it. From what I've seen, I love it. I like it. When's the last time you've seen me say, let's drop $80 on a set of expansions when I haven't even played the base game? I'm all in. I figure worst case scenario, if we absolutely hated it, it still would sell better as a full set.
Okay. All right. Okay. So going back in chat stuff here really quick. So Nosferatu says, I thought this game was already out. It was driving me crazy this morning. Isn't this already a game? Yes, it absolutely is.
It hasn't been out for a super long time. Like I got my copy maybe in the last couple months, maybe like that December-ish range.
Eric says, I'm backing this. I love the Vindication, and I love the one...
The ONEB community.
Oh, the ONEB community.
Yeah, the ONEB community is really cool. ONEB is one of the few companies that when they do like a live stream, I sit and I watch it. I'm like...
Yeah. So, which are you playing first, says Petter, Unsettled or Nemesis Lockdown? I have Nemesis Lockdown on the table. Doctor's like, you need to put that crap up right now. We have Unsettled, okay?
So here's the thing. I've been wanting to play Unsettled for months, but I've been really bad about being lazy about
I had it all up on the table.
And so we have Nemesis right here on the table to play.
Unsettled is here.
It got too late though before we could actually. We set it up and then we were going to learn the rules, but it was like 9, 10 o'clock by that time. I was like, it was too late. It was ended up becoming a stressful day somewhat. So we were just like, we don't have time for it. I want to get Unsettled on the table so that I can verify that I love it as much as I think I do, and so that we can play it live so that everybody can say, well, there's still time to back the expansions and still get a copy of it. Everyone can have a chance to see it before it's gone, because it's only got like 11 more days or something.
Omar says, dang, I haven't heard him this excited in ages. I was totally thinking that, Omar, like you're right on my mind. As soon as he started going in the rant, I was just like, it's happening.
It's happening. It's doing it again.
It's happening, everyone.
Look at it though, it's so cool. I remember being so pumped about this game, and I so thought Greg was gonna get it.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed when I started seeing it. I've watched the unboxing of this. Now, to be fair, it is a game trays, right? So I have seen the unboxing. I've watched this unboxing like 3 times though. It's dumb. I don't even know why. I'm so excited to play this. I just want to play it so badly. All these different weird planets, not knowing if the people next to you are crazy, these interesting tasks. I'm so excited about playing this. And I don't even like space games typically.
I feel like at this point, this is a game we need to play on our channel ASAP. I already set up Nemesis. Like, what are we going to do, chat?
We also have great walls set up on the other table that you started to set up and that you never put back away.
I need to put that away.
Here's the problem.
We have some other ones right now.
You are the rules reader typically.
I am.
But you've gotten, you've just been really busy.
I've been really busy. My weekends have been full. My weekdays have been full.
And so we got a new puppy to solve that problem.
Yes, and it's been very helpful with
He's been very helpful keeping us distracted.
My ankles being pulled on. Yeah, absolutely.
He's very distracting. He's very lovable. So that's been a problem. I told you though that I would learn Unsettled if I need to.
Yes.
Like I'm willing to because I've wanted to play it. And I've been kind of like giving you space to try to get your other stuff done. I haven't pushed playing a game, but I really want to play Unsettled.
Battlecry, I love space. So you can always bank on me loving space, okay? So Petter says, I feel like the aesthetic is so clean and cool looking, like Time Stories. Absolutely.
Here's the thing about Nebula. They also have like a sister company that was part of them, but it now split off, that just does graphic design. The Game Trays website was done by them. So,
that's right.
And that was like a long time, it's a couple of years ago, but that was something that they did like quickly. So
this
like,
one here?
It's really good stuff.
Nebula No Sleeves is for $75 here. We have the...
Which awkwardly, since I backed this from like a retailer, I got like the blackout pledge.
And with the sleeves and all that stuff, yeah.
Even though I'm a non-sleever, I don't know what to do with them.
Basically, if you want just the other pledge, though, if you already have it, how much is the other pledge, though?
See, Silent Love wants us to go ahead and play it. If you have the other pledge, it's just that first one, the 75.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that is the first one.
That's the first one. So that's
because it's coming with 3 new expansions, right?
Okay.
So figure they're each about 15-ish bucks, right? Or I'm sorry, like 20 bucks,
okay.
20, 40, 60. And then about $15 is going to give you the specialized task, which gives you a whole other board that you put onto your character board. And it gives you, that's specialization. And then there's also another box that's exclusive with this Kickstarter that's going to give you like different tasks and stuff that you can do too. It adds some other like wrinkle to it. It's these things like the community packs and
for
stuff.
our community here, when does this thing end here? Hold on. When does this thing end? For our community, since we love you all so much, it's 11 days. Let's plan on playing this week.
Okay.
And let's set a date. What date?
You want to do like Tuesday or Thursday? You want to do it Tuesday? That means we
Chat,
gotta play it
Tuesday?
this weekend.
What do you think? Tuesday? You got to get on this, doctor. And then at that time, we will report back if we will be getting the other portion of this game. Because we will have played it.
I would have to be really bored to not get the rest.
All of you would now see it being played and be able to make your own decisions on this game. Like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. We'll put it up. Okay, we'll put it up and we'll play it live for all of you, okay, in the evening time. It'll be fantastic.
Put your hands up.
And then I'll sadly put Nemesis away.
It's fine, yeah.
We'll play it another day, okay?
I want to play Nemesis real bad too, but yeah, Nemesis is come and gone. It's old news now.
But then you'll be able to go ahead and make your own decisions on it, okay?
Go ahead and click that button. You were hovering on that this project. You might as well do it.
Oh, clicky clicks. All right, next up we have...
Here's the secret. I've already backed out my Game Trays
now!
account. Not for like $1, so I can always up it later if I need to.
Next up, we have Kingdoms, Forlorn, Dragons, Devils, and Kings,
which is a pretty sick title. This has like a cool intro video. Like I was jamming with this intro video. It was like in the beginning there were gods, and they're like, and then then the creatures from the night come, and I'm like, oh no.
It was nice, yeah.
It's bad. I'm like,
we have, gosh, I'm trying to remember the designer on this. It was somebody who also, the same person who did Aeon's Odyssey, or the
Aeon's Legacy?
I don't know if they did the whole Aeon series. I don't know.
You believe there was an Aeon
designer
involved.
was good. The designer was good.
It's good.
The one thing in this I have to say is that they talked so much about, this is groundbreaking, you're never going to play this way before, this is like so unique, like, there you go. There we go. Thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you so much, chat. Yes, Aeon's Trespass. So, after they were like so excited about like how groundbreaking and different this gameplay was going to be, but then like they never told me what it was.
So here's the thing that I think, so every time we run across one of these kind of big dungeon delving type of world building games, I always try to figure out like what's different about it, right? So some of them are grimdark, some of them have like, this is a card-based one, or this one's anime-based, or this one has a really good storyline, or this one's set in Arthurian times. Like you got to kind of find out like what it took is.
Right.
The world seems like it's got some decent lore, right? Because just by watching the video,
the world does look like it has really cool lore. It's dark. Lore, right? It's a dark fantasy,
which is always fun. Yes. Then the thing that I think that sets us apart from other ones is they really talk about how you can play this solo. You can just take your character and like join your friend's game. And it doesn't matter if you're the same level as them. And then come back and join another game or do a one-shot. Or they really seem to focus on the fact that like your character is somehow encapsulated enough that you can just play it. Because like what's the worst thing in playing something like World of Warcraft is when I'm a level, say, 60 and you're like a level 5. Like we're not on the same quests. It is not fun, right? One of us is basically just doing everything. The other one's just like, I'm just collecting loot.
Yeah.
It's, right? That can happen in board games too, where like, I got to start a whole new campaign because I play this campaign with Petter. This one I'm playing with my wife. This one I play on chat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like you're able just to take your character and just take it with you wherever you're going. Take it to a friend's house. You know, play it in your own campaign. Play it solo. Play it with your friends. You can just kind of do what you want with it because at least that's what they're saying is that it's very easy just to take it like it's its own encompassed little thing.
And the miniatures look amazing in it. So most of this here is going to be people talking, and then the miniatures, which we're going to kind of pass over because this is actually an extremely lengthy video. They really went into showing off the miniatures in this game here. Like, the camera works nice, but it is just a lot of miniatures.
Oh, so spiky.
He has a yawn. He has a yawn happening. He's like, oh, like my dog. With the tongue out. Ah.
They seem like nice people, though.
They do seem like really nice people.
They did the classic,
absolutely.
like, you know, face-to-face, like, please support us.
It reminds me, okay, so their camera work and the way that they did this reminds me of, oh my gosh, Awakened Realms. It reminds me of the first videos that you saw from Awakened Realms because they did that first in the way of having the camera moving. And I was wondering myself, I was like, man, did they hire the same professionals to like shoot their video? Because they're using the same exact stuff, which is like the designer and people talking in the video, the camera moving from side to side and in while they're talking and stuff, talking very passionately about the game and everything. But again, also did not go into like, this is exactly how it plays. And that is actually really the only big problem I have with looking at this Kickstarter because it looks fantastic.
Everything looks good in it.
The dark medieval fantasy sort of cast over it. Like, I want dark things to happen in my game because I'm an adult and I want those things to happen. Like, I want it to be like a more realistic style fantasy game, you know?
Right.
But I just didn't get enough on exactly, and I like that you explained though, that, okay, you can go and transport your characters to other games and stuff, but what is it that makes it different besides it being dark fantasy?
And that's what I don't know. I don't know how they actually do it. And you're right, I didn't really feel like I got a good sense of how the game actually plays either. Were there videos on it that talked about how it played? Because I didn't see that.
Yeah, so Peter says they don't give a very good description of the gameplay. They focus more on the miniatures. Right, exactly. I see lots of focusing on the miniatures, and they like talk so passionately about this groundbreaking stuff. But what is the groundbreaking stuff?
That's fair. That's fair.
And Naspatu says,
in the sauce.
I am tired of the clean-cut, good-looking people making dark and gritty games. I want some apocalyptical survivor-looking dude selling me this game.
He's missing half
his nose. He has the mohawk. He has one eye, like
missing half
wearing
his nose.
Like one of those shoulder things.
He's
like
got a bullet earring for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know why, because you can't use it. It's an earring.
Oh, if you don't support our Kickstarter, Siberian moss slugs will stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
So I think that's the biggest thing that would set it apart. I have to be honest with you, though. Between all four games, my ranking goes Unsettled. Then I think I was leaning towards Iron Forest. I just wish it was less. Because I was hoping that I could do Unsettled and Iron Forest. I didn't realize how much it cost, though, right before the show. Because I don't typically look at the cost until I'm trying to get, like, the data. Well, to get the data, like, before I will, like, to see what the value is. But usually I go into it first without looking at the cost. I want to know about the game, what it looks like, how excited I am about it, and then I go see what the cost is, and then I go, oh.
Hold on. And then when you see the cost, you go, what?
Oh. Oh. Like, you just get, oh. Like, why?
Oh, no.
I don't have that kind of money.
Oh, no.
Who does it look like I'm out of money? So I don't typically go into that right away. They're all very similar costed this week, right? I mean, this one's like, what, 140, 150?
That's another thing, too. It's
the other ones are all 80-ish.
That's even worse, because as you're looking at all the games, you're like,
well, you have to compare them against each other then, right?
Yeah, you get
like
a ton of miniatures in it.
Recklin Run was
money.
easy to do because we say, oh, if we get the middle pledge of Deep Rock Galactic, we can afford Recklin Run because it's not super expensive, right? But you can't really do that with any of these. You kind of have to compare them against each other, depending on what your board game budget is. So when I look at all three of them, it definitely goes Unsettled, then Iron Force, then 51st State, then this one. My problem with this one is, it's not the game itself. I didn't feel like I got grabbed by the gameplay, right? I saw like more gameplay and things happening with Awakened Realms when they did Tainted Grail. We had a period of time where I was like very much focused on getting games that are just like one-shots.
Yeah.
Then there was the time where like I was like, oh, we got to get all these big campaign games and everything. Now all those are delivering. Now I want one-shots again. I want games I can sit down and play like once and not feel like I have to get super invested and have to like write down my character story. That's the problem I have, because now I've got more of those things. We've got the Tainted Grails, we've got Nemesis, we got Great Wall, we've got, not Great Wall might not be a good example, we've got a lot of these games that are more campaign-based, more like longer games, that now I feel like I'm looking for one-shots again. That's why I was really attracted to Deep Rock Galactic. When you play that game, the video game, it is a one-shot. You go in, you know you're playing for about an hour or less. You can take friends with you, go by yourself. You go in, you're mining, you're fighting some bugs, Starship Trooper styles, you have a good time, you leave, you turn it off, you walk away, you go to bed, whatever. Like, you don't feel like you have to stay up and play. It's not like Skyrim.
So this is, okay, so the core game for this costs about $156 here. Studio Aniston says, well, this is probably won't deliver until 2025, so you might want campaign again. You might be back on the campaign cycle by then. And that's understandable.
You have to realize what your cycles are. Yeah. It's important. So
let's see here. There was one comment I was looking on. Okay, so PJ Peter says, biggest reason for canceling was the cost and not a good feel of gameplay, which that's the question I had for you in the beginning. So thank you so much for bringing that up as you were going through. So isn't Unsettled one-shots?
Yeah, Unsettled is one-shots. Yeah. Because every planet's different. That's the whole idea, is you end up on a different planet.
The other thing that I was looking at in this one, I think, were the maps randomized or something like that?
In this one?
Yeah. I don't remember if they were or were not. Do not quote me on that. I don't know 100% for sure, okay?
I know it said it was roguelite.
Yes.
Not roguelike, light, L-I-T-E.
Light.
And that it had a narrative story that was like immersive narrative story that was part of it. But I feel like those words have been tossed around a lot lately.
Right,
It seems like almost every game says that they are roguelike, because that seems to be the new buzzword, right? Because it was, for a while it was campaign, then it was legacy, and now it seems like it's roguelike, where they're like, every time you play, it's completely different. Well, that's impossible, but I understand what they're trying to say.
Hello, Morty.
I feel like there's a lot more of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, Morty, this is live.
Yeah. I'm not like 100% sold on this for now.
Right, I agree. I think that it's an interesting concept. Without getting more of the gameplay, I don't think I can confidently back it. And so that's why it didn't make it in my, like, oh, this is the one I want to get this week.
It's right in the same run, though, of the other games like it. Like,
they are starting to kind of meld together to a certain degree.
They are starting to meld together, and I hate that they are starting to meld together where I'm, like, liking things less because of it. Does that make sense, everyone?
I think so, because you do get to a point. So the last big kind of game like this we looked at was the vampire one.
Ooh, Vampire Chapters?
No.
Oh, I'm like, I can't wait for that game. I was so excited.
It was a Dungeon Delver one with vampires, where you could throw vampires out the window and stuff. That was the last one we got excited about because it was a different theme. It was vampires.
And plus, you could do more stuff with the vampires because, like, you specifically would sneak around the room, and then you'd have to go ahead and, like, try to light them on fire and, like, drag them out the door. Like, the theme and what was happening in the game made sense, and as we were looking at the Kickstarter, they discussed those mechanics and those specific mechanics that separated the game from other games on that level, which is so important.
Some slightly different mechanics.
So important. Like, you can't just go in and going, oh, this is the most innovative game. It has an innovative story. It has this, that. Like, every story is going to be different. Every story is somewhat innovative in the fact that, like, it's different from the other stories unless you're going straight up off of like Tolkienism, you know, like, okay, these are elves, these are dwarves, and these things are happening, you know, we're going to this mountain to deliver something.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, every story kind of has a uniqueness to it, but like, what about the gameplay is so unique?
That's fair. And I don't think they did as good of a job showing that off like you did. They
Yeah,
spoke more about the miniatures.
absolutely,
they told you about their idea of the game, but I didn't get to really feel like I know what the game actually
I would love to know more
is.
about this game.
And Nosferatu says, this is something that I should be all in on, but it's just not grabbing my attention. I think that's where we're at. I think it's been saturated. It seems like we've got one or two of these every week.
Yeah.
I literally, every week when I'm looking for games, I probably push one or two of these off the list because there's almost always 2 dungeon delving games that are active, usually making around $1 million or more in that range, right? 500,000 to $1.5 million. That it's like, well, which one do you talk about? What is interesting about this one? And the only thing I could find that was super unique about this one was the way they said that you could just move your character kind of around and you were able to play against like with different levels and other things like that. That was the only thing I could feel like that just stuck out that you can't do with other campaign style games like this.
They have a true solo mode, so unlike something like where you have to play multiple characters to play solo, you know, you just play solo, which
is something that's funny because I never realized how annoying that was until I had to play a game where I had to play like
all
4
the different characters, and you're like, dang it,
oh, this kind of sucks. I'm not liking this.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I just want to play one character.
So I'm kind of sad because I feel like going into this, I really, really wanted to like and back this, but I'm just not wowed for some reason. I always feel bad whenever I'm not wowed about a game because people put their love and energy and all this stuff into a game, and I hate being like, but I'm not in love. Like, I want to be in love with all of the games, but that's just not what's going to happen.
I mean, everybody has to make this decision, right? Not everybody is going to spend, what are we looking at here, like $150, $280 games, $300. I mean, no, not everyone's going to spend $400 this week just because they're on Kickstarter today.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of have to make the decision you think that works best.
And that was Kingdoms Forlorn for, I think some people in our Twitch chat were asking about that, what the game was maybe. I'm not for sure on that.
I think they just popped in and they were just trying to figure out what was going on. So, I want to like it more. I just don't. So when it comes down to it, when I have to make that decision, it just isn't in my top. Like, all right. If I could back... Go ahead.
Yes. So, chat, this is your time. If you had to pick one game to back this week, it doesn't even matter if it's one of the games that we personally talked about on the show. What is the number one game that you are backing this week? We want to know. We want to look at it later and stuff like that. Doctor, from the ones we discussed, what's the one that you would back?
I think it was obvious, but I think Unsettled. I mean, Unsettled is the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah, Petter says, my burrito goes to Unsettled. If you're going to sacrifice your Chipotle burritos, you're going to eat. Yeah, for like a month plus.
Remember when it was like, oh, you could go out to Chipotle or you could buy this board game? Now it's like, you could go out to Chipotle 4 or 5 times or you could buy this board game.
You're going to have to go for the McDonald's dollar menu instead for like 3 months instead, okay?
Yeah, out of all of them, only picking one, it's Unsettled. If we could find a way to squeeze out 2, I think Iron Force is the one that would be.
Let's see. I'd rather go to Taco Bell this week instead of these, says Nosferatu. Ooh, burn.
And Jolly Lumpy's backing Earth. I think I looked at Earth and it was on my list as a strong possibility. That was kind of the engine building planet one, you know. I think since we had played Meadow and Meadow was such a miss for us, I was like less excited about Earth.
Dale says 51st for them. J. Peter says Unsettled on that. Cohen says no doubt Unsettled. Let's see here. Oh, it was also Tidal Blades, but it was postponed. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see here. But for space concerns, I'm probably just backing 51st State. I totally understand that.
51st State is like one of those ones that if I felt she would like it more, I'd be more excited about it. But once I saw like the mechanics, I was like, she's not going to like this.
Phantom of Truth, if you need to get yourself a spicy styrofoam McChicken for $1 instead of a Chipotle burrito just to get a board game, you do it. You make that sacrifice, okay?
Petter likes Astro Knights, which I think Petter, that's one that you got to play, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then Angela says, Earth as well.
Absolutely.
So Earth is doing pretty well as an engine building type of game, but I think you just have to know what game works best for your group. And the idea of going to a weird planet and dying to goo, I think it works really well with this household.
Nosferatu brings up another thing. 51st gets a crown just for having a charity option. Absolutely. Check that out if you are thinking about backing 51st, for
and
sure.
Jay Peters already has 51st, so he doesn't need
Oh,
to
okay.
get it
Well,
again.
then you're already ahead.
51st is one that I think would have been easier to sell her on if I could have gotten her to play it already.
I think so. All right, chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate all of you being here, all of your comments on our show. You all make this show so wonderful and so fantastic, because if we weren't here to have you guys to talk to, like if you guys were not here to talk to us, if you guys were not here to talk to us, then it wouldn't be as exciting. We wouldn't get more input about games that we might not have known about, because this Kickstarter thing is like a collective experience on Kickstarter, not just going in on one person. There's so many different angles, so many different people's insights that go into play whenever you're looking at these things.
Things are brought up that really changed my mind mid-show.
Absolutely. Our minds get changed mid-show.
Otherwise, it would just be me looking at these Kickstarters and then only mentioning, hey, Unsettled's got a Kickstarter. I wouldn't tell her about all the other ones that she might like.
It makes it a safer experience for everybody on Kickstarter, because then when you're going into something, you're like, oh, I really love this game, and then somebody brings up a good point. Oh, well, this, manufacturer hasn't put out all of their games in the last 5 years or something like that, then you can be like, oh, that's a problem, and all that stuff does get brought up on the show. So it makes it a safer experience, I feel like, for everybody backing Kickstarters.
Nosferatu feels less safe. He feels like you're going to offer a hug that he does not want.
Oh, I'm going to hug you guys. Come here.
There's no stopping her.
So we really, really appreciate all... All right. Well, we do appreciate all of you being here.
Does it smell like ether?
No, no. And we will go ahead and play Unsettled. We promise. We'll get it up next week. Doctor will be learning that game. We're going to be playing it live as usual, everyone. So it's going to be super fantastic. Also, as for today, we are going to go back to our Gloomhaven campaign that we had started. So if you want to come and watch that, that's fantastic. Or if you are on our Discord, you can also put in your last votes on where we go, because we're having our Discord community vote for which place we go to next, which is really exciting. Do you remember where we were last on Discord? I think it was like...
I thought
we were looking at the
grotto was winning.
The grotto? I know. I'm excited about the grotto, if it's going to be the grotto. Like, I think that's kind of secretly where I wanted to go, so...
Because you're hoping for a mermaid.
I am hoping for mermaids, okay?
Always.
If you go to a grotto,
if she ever leaves me, it'll be for a mermaid.
It will be for a mermaid. I apologize, Doctor.
It's the clam
But
shells.
to be fair, I will get drowned in the ocean, so...
You deserve it.
So it's win-win for everybody?
It's win-win. It's win-win-win.
Other than that, we will see all of you later in the day. Bye!